Now, one of the teachings for which Buddhism is very well known is that Buddhism teaches that life is suffering. Again, this is a rather inaccurate translation and understanding. Let's say, first of all, that the word dukkha covers a very wide, huge variety of experiences. Sometimes it's translated as unsatisfactoriness. Can also be translated as lack, the sense that we lack something, no matter how pleasurable we find things and however well life is going. There's always a sense that there's just something we don't quite know what missing. It's not quite right. It's not it yet. And so the Buddha says that everything except for nibbana is fundamentally insecure and fundamentally, or in the last resort, unsatisfactory. That there is a deep yearning in the mind for enlightenment, and that as long as the mind is unenlightened, then it will never be totally free of that sense of lack. Now, that sense of lack can vary from very subtle perception to very coarse kinds of physical and mental suffering. But that whole spectrum of experience, all non-enlightened experience, is summed up under this one word of dukkha. And it's for the comprehension and for the understanding of what dukkha means that this education is undertaken, because it's through understanding dukkha that one is free from it. And this is a very basic principle of Buddha's teaching, is that we only ever transcend something, we're only ever really free from something through thoroughly comprehending it, both intellectually, emotionally, and understanding it as a direct experience. Now, the first noble truth of dukkha, this dukkha has a cause of ignorance and craving, and it has an end. It doesn't have to be like this, and there is a path towards its end, this path of training of body, speech and mind. Now, given that the most important concept or word there is dukkha, it has led to this understanding or perception of Buddhism looks on the world as suffering and is kind of pessimistic, without taking into account, of course, Buddhism says, well, the whole point of religious life is to go beyond that. It is possible, which is a much more optimistic view than is generally credited. But also, the Buddha taught very clearly that the only way that you can understand suffering and the only way that you can transcend suffering is when your mind is happy. So this is the path is a path of increasing happiness, and the culmination of this path of happiness is the complete penetration of the nature of suffering. Meditation is a path of happiness. It's teaching you more intelligent, more sustainable ways of experiencing happiness. Everybody wants to be happy, but very few people are very systematic and intelligent about the way they look for happiness. But the Buddha says that any kind of goodness, intelligent action will lead to a sense of inner buoyancy and inner well-being. And if that inner well-being is cultivated further, it gives rise to bliss and happiness, and the happy mind becomes concentrated, and the concentrated mind sees things as they truly are. So the Buddha made very clear that happiness and pleasure, when it's coming from blameless sources, is not only not to be avoided, but it's something definitely to be cultivated. So the happy mind is a strong mind. you can see this is generally, if you're in a happy frame of mind and somebody comes to you with their problems, then you're very likely to be much more likely to be patient and to be able to listen to them well and to be able to help them however you can. And if yourself you're full of inner worries and doubts and anxieties, and you're so caught up in your own problems, you have little time for anybody else's. And the ability to stay with something and to be able to look at it carefully and clearly means that the state of the mind and the emotional state of the mind is as important as the particular knowledge and information that you might have. So part of meditation is one which learns on mindfulness, ability to be clear, awake, and bright here in the present moment, and to by that to experience or to investigate the nature of happiness and unhappiness, and to be and to experience for yourself that the extent to which you can abandon unwholesome thoughts of greed, hatred and delusion is the extent to which you yourself experience inner peace and happiness, and also you have that kind of resource to be able to help other people. So these are a few preliminary sort of reflections and thoughts about Buddhist teaching, given the time constraints, somewhat sketchy. But anyway, after we have our meditation session, then there will be time for anyone to ask any questions, either about what I've been talking about just now, or anything else at all which you'd rather talk about. But right now I'd like to give everyone a break for 5 minutes or so, if anybody wants to stretch their legs and use the bathroom, whatever, and then we'll come back in, say, 20 past, and we'll have a meditation session.